Hi, welcome to the Medicaid Moment. I'm Katherine Jacobs, estate planning and elder law attorney with Warner Norcross and Judd. And in these videos, we talk about long-term care for older and disabled adults and the Medicaid programs that help pay for them. In today's episode, we are going to talk about placement specialists. Placement specialists are organizations, companies, or individuals who help find placement in assisted living or adult foster care homes. It could be that someone is living at home and needs these services to find a place. Oftentimes you're going to encounter them when you're in a hospital or in a rehab setting, and maybe there's been a care conference on a Tuesday and they say, you know what, Shirley is all set here. We've done everything we can, and now it's time for her to discharge, and we're going to discharge her on Saturday. And you've got, 4 or 5 days to find a place for her to go, which is a daunting task. And so these placement specialists will swoop in. They're often recommended by the hospital or the rehab facility to help you to find that next place, to help you to find the best fit for an assisted living or adult foster care home for your loved one. And just for context, if you were to do an internet search for adult foster care homes or assisted living communities, you are going to get pages and pages of different options. And it's not readily apparent from those searches online what is an assisted living versus a skilled nursing facility. They're certainly not going to list costs. They're not going to list all the services. Can they do a 2-person assist? Do they have memory care? That's not always on the website. And so much like a realtor, and so I use this analogy a lot, that these placement specialists are a lot like a realtor. They are the ones who know what inventory, if you will, is available. So if you meet with them and you say, you know what, my mom, Shirley, is a 2-person assist. She's got some memory decline. She really likes other people. She really wants a place that, is going to have a lot of activities and a lot of ways for her to engage with others. And we'd like her to be in a 20-mile radius of these different communities. That placement specialist, much like a realtor, is going to know what communities are going to be the best fit for them. And they're going to narrow it down for you and say, okay, let's go look at these 3, 4, or 5 communities and see if one of these is going to work for you. Now, I will also tell you that a lot of placement specialists will go on the tours with you, and I highly recommend that. At this point, you're probably so overwhelmed. You've got to find a place quickly. You don't know what you're looking for. You don't know what questions to ask if you haven't done this before. And so that placement specialist is going to be able to help point out the things that are important to you based on what they know you want. They're going to be able to ask the questions of the communities to help you get more information so that you can make the best choice. They are essentially doing all the work for you. And so the nice thing about placement specialists when they're helping you find assisted living or adult foster care home is that you don't pay them. They put in hours and hours of work, but you don't pay them. Why? Well, much like real estate agents, they get paid by the seller, if you will. So the communities are paying the commission to the placement specialist for helping to find and place you there. So historically, with real estate transactions, when a buyer's agent brings a buyer, the seller is paying that commission, sort of the same situation. And so it's very nice for you because they're working very, very hard to place you, to find the best spot, and they're getting compensated for all their hard work, and you don't have to worry about anything. Now, what sometimes people don't recognize is the importance of understanding the finances so that when you're working with a placement specialist, they can make sure that they're finding the best fit for longevity. And what I mean by that is that, assisted living communities, maybe they're going to cost $4, $5, $6, upwards of $8,000 a month. And so helping to understand what your loved one's finances are, what resources they have to pull from, what their income is, will help determine, can this person afford this assisted living for a sustained period of time? And if not, then we can look at different locations that maybe are less per month, certainly considering what assisted living communities or adult foster care homes participate with the My Choice waiver or the Medicaid waiver program in Michigan, so that if we need some extra help paying, that we're going to a community that does participate with the My Choice waiver. Because remember, you saw my episode on the My Choice waiver program. Not every assisted living community or adult foster home pay or participates with the My Choice waiver program. And so if that is going to be a factor that, maybe at some point you're going to need help paying and you're going to look to the Medicaid waiver program to help pay, that has to be on the table up front so that they can, first of all, place you in a facility that does participate with that program, and that you understand when and how that community will allow that program to be used as part of pay, and whether or not at that point in time, if you are on a Medicaid waiver program, if there is a deficit, and I'll explain what this means in a minute, that maybe that deficit is waived. So let's talk about that. So let's just say, for easy math, that an assisted living community is $6,500 a month. And let's say that the individual has $2,500 a month in income that they can help use to pay every month. So they pay that. Now we've got $4,000. Maybe they've qualified for Medicaid waiver, and the Medicaid waiver is going to pay $2,000 a month. So now we've got just a $2,000 deficit. Well, if you looked at the videos that talk about how you can qualify, what assets you're allowed to have, you'll know that a person can have $9,660 if they're a single individual. And maybe there's a few other ways that they could increase that amount, but let's just go with the $9,660. Well, if you do the math, they've got about 4 months that they're going to be able to pay having that $2,000 deficit. And so understanding how that community might treat that deficit, sometimes if you have lived in a community for a period of time, those communities say, well, you know what, if you've paid into our community and you've been here and you've been a loyal resident, after a period of time, if you go on the My Choice waiver, we will waive that deficit. But that's something that has to be known up front and negotiated, and so you have to understand that. And so that's where a placement specialist is going to know, based on your finances, how long you're going to be able to pay, and if the different communities that they're picking for you are going to be the right choice. And I will tell you, it's heartbreaking for me anyway to get a call from someone who says, you know what, we picked this assisted living community. We didn't realize that we ran out of money. They wouldn't keep us. We didn't know that they didn't participate in waiver. And now we've got to move our loved one. And it's just very devastating to the family because they know that that's going to be very traumatic for their loved one. So please take advantage of placement specialists. They are a wonderful resource for you to help you find the best fit the first time, so that you're not having heartbreak of having to move, heartbreak of running out of finances and not having options. They are really going to be the key to a great long-term care placement. Thanks for watching today. Turn in next time. We're going to talk about discharge planners. It's going to be a great episode. Can't wait to see you.